Hi everyone, I'm out on the River Thames this morning. It's a lovely, peaceful morning, and the video that you're about to see is going to be made up of a few different outings. Not all the same day, so I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 different outings. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll see you back at the studio later for a roundup. So look, got a bit of bone here with some teeth. We've got this pipe bowl here from the 1700s, bit of pipe stem, and if we walk along slowly you can see so many pipe stems, loads and loads of them all over the place, and bones. Oh, there's a nice bit of stoneware there. Might have come from a Bellarmine jar, a 17th century stoneware jar. There's shells, like seashells, evidence of what people used to eat. Cockles, oysters. Look, there's some bit of oyster shell. All these things left over from hundreds of years ago. Look at that lovely old nail here. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? Beautiful old nail. I've just been scraping in this area here and I wasn't filming. And this coin popped up and I thought that it was a 2p at first. And then I picked it up and had a closer look, and it's not. It's an absolutely gorgeous George II coin. It's the last thing I was expecting to find. So I'm absolutely over the moon. It's so well defined. I think it's 1739. And it's just in such brilliant condition. And I haven't found a George II coin before, I don't think. Just look at that. It's just a fantastic surprise. Thank you, River Thames. Well, I'm just having a little scrape around here. There's another coin here, but it's a modern 1p, so I shall leave that. Just noticed a little chain come up here, look. It's really pretty, actually. Oh, it looks like it was a bracelet, maybe. That's it. How nice. Maybe a little silver bracelet. Just seen a button down here, tiny little thing, but hopefully it might have a maker on there. It's got something on there anyway, so that's good news, something to research. Nice and sludgy today in parts, nice and clean in certain areas and then very, very sludgy in others. Now it's always worth turning over bits of pottery that you find. I just turned this one over and I'm going to show you what is on the other side. You sometimes just get an adorable picture, and this is the case here. Look, we've got a little trio of dogs. How lovely is that? Well, that's all them off. Nothing like puffing your feathers up and getting rid of your competition. Well, many of you ask me if I ever break the clay pipes when I try and get them out, and usually, or before today, I would be able to say no, I've never broken one. It does look like I could have snapped one, and quite a long one. Look, you can see the thin stem here going along, and actually underneath here it's still going on. So I'm going to put that to one side there, and I'm going to gently take the mud off and see if this is going to end in a bowl. I mean, it would be great if it does, wouldn't it? Because then I can patch it back together and everybody can maybe not be quite as cross with me. Oh, it's still going on, look. You see? It's going on there. Let's... Aha! There is a bowl on the end of it. Now this is good news. This is very good news because I'll be able to take it out, take it home. There you are, look. It's very, very delicate actually. The stem is very thin in my defence. And it could have been snapped already. There you are, look, isn't that nice? That is a really lovely long pipe. I don't think there's a maker's mark on it. Oh yes, there is a mark and it's on the little spur, but we'll be able to have a closer look at that when I get back. So there we are, look, it's one snapped pipe which I shall be mending later on. Now the last time I found a knife I didn't keep it. This one here also looks quite lethal, but on it it's got United States Marines on it. What I'd like to know is it genuine or is that a replica? I'm sure you'll all know. And why is it in the river? Just found a beautiful pin down here. I haven't picked it up or washed it off yet, but it looks really pretty. It's got like a green stone in it. Look. Here it is. I've just washed it off and I've realised that it's a clip-on earring. It's got like a beautiful green stone in it. The light's fading a bit, so we'll have a better look when I get home. I can see a bottle poking out here. Let's see what it is. Oh, it looks like Mason sauce, so it's going to be early 20th century. I wonder if it's intact. Oh, it is, look. I love it when they leave these lovely, smooth kind of indents in the mud. I'm not going to take this. I've got enough bottles, but it's a Mason's OK sauce bottle. What is that? There's all sorts of old things half buried here. What is that? Some of the wood here I absolutely love. Just look at this. Way too heavy to take, but it's lovely. Looks like it's from an old ship or an old pier. Put it there so you can get a sense of the size of it. Look at that, isn't it great? Can you see what I've just spotted down here in the rocks? I'll zoom in on it and see if you can see it. It's just there. And it is an apostle spoon. And I suppose somebody came down here and was eating their fish paste with it, maybe. It's a little bit bent, but you can see at the top here one of the apostles. A figure at the top of the spoon. There's his back. And there's the bent spoon. Well, again, I've spotted signs of pipes. I can see something here that might be a pipe, or it might be a stone. Sometimes you get stones that think it's really funny to pretend to be pipes. But I can also see the top of a pipe bowl just here, look. Let's have a look. I don't know, these pipes, they just keep on finding me wherever I go. So, if we're lucky, it might be a decorated one. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's see if we can get it out. Can I feel a decoration on it? I don't know, it might be my imagination. Let's see. Oh no, I can feel something on it. Yeah, there's definitely raised edges on there. So there's going to be something on it. At the moment, I can't quite make it out. So that makes it doubly exciting because the grand reveal when I wash it. Let's see if we can see it now, actually. Oh, it's it's the ostrich feathers there, look, it's the fleur-de-lis. I might get a better sense of what's on the other side later on. Okay, now let's have a look down here. Now look at this. That looks like possibly a pipe bowl from the 18th century. Let's have a look. Quite big, isn't it? And it's got a big... oh, now that looks like it could be a Dutch pipe bowl. Let's have a look. And it's got sort of two heels on it. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, no, it's not two heels. It's where the stem has broken off. But there's a heel there, and I wonder if there's going to be a maker's mark on the bottom. Do you remember when we were looking at Germanda's collection the other day? Often these Dutch pipes, they have a really nice mark on the bottom of the heel. And do you know what? I think we're going to be lucky. I can't see it just yet, but I can see that there's something on the bottom there. Yeah, there is. There is something there. Well, that's going to be fun, looking at that later. And here we are for round 2. Why? So territorial, aren't they? We're in full battleship mode here. Hi everyone, thank you very much for watching, and before I do a very quick roundup of my finds, I just want to say thank you very, very much. I've reached 91,000 subscribers, and that's nothing short of a miracle, because when I started this channel I didn't think I'd get 1,000, let alone 91, so who would have thought that so many people would be interested in what you can find in the mud, so thank you very much for that. Now I'm just going to do a really quick roundup because this week is the anniversary of the Princess Alice disaster, which took place on the River Thames in 1878, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. So I'm not going to linger too long on these finds, but I will do a very quick zip through. So starting off with my beautiful coin, which was such an unexpected find, this King George II halfpenny from 1739. King George, he reigned from 1727 to 1760, and actually I've been learning a little bit about his dietary preferences recently as I'm preparing this talk about food and mudlarking finds. And turtle soup was all the rage during his reign. It was very, very popular at banquets. So there we are. I'm sure King George II ate a little bit of turtle soup. A little bit of trivia for you. Moving on to this little clip-on earring. It's always nice to see a glint of colour in the mud. And of course this has got to be emerald. I haven't cleaned it properly in case it falls apart, but let's just imagine that it is a very high-class emerald stone, although it probably isn't. This spoon here, you do find lots of cutlery in the River Thames for one reason or another. I think this one, it's an apostle spoon and it dates back to Victorian times, and it's probably a worker who's taken his pot of fish paste along and a little spoon and then eaten all his delicious fish paste and then thrown it in the mud, and I'm sure his wife was not very happy with him. So that's that. Another little bit of jewellery here. This very delicate little bracelet. I'm not sure how old it is, probably not terribly old, maybe Victorian, Georgian, but very, very pretty. Very pleased with that. I might see if I can mend it and then wear it. What else have we got? We have got this pipe which was broken and which I have repaired now, so you would hardly know that there is a crack in it. It's got that nice kind of bended stem there. It's not quite as long as my longest pipe, but it's not far, and it's got the initials B and I, or possibly J, on the heel here, and it probably dates to early 19th century, I think. It's always so incredible finding these pipes that are so delicate and yet they're so cushioned in the mud that they survive all this time, despite the little crack in it. See, it's come out very nicely. Now these other two pipe bowls here, I think these date to the 18th century. This one here is a lovely smooth Dutch pipe bowl. It's got a lovely smooth shiny finish, and that is a typical sort of 18th century Dutch pipe bowl shape, and they often have these little stamps on the bottom of the heel. And now this one does, and it says 37, and it's got a little crown. I'll put a picture up on the screen. And I do have another couple of these, and one of them, which was to hand, which I found a moment ago, has a tiny little horse on it. So small. So I'm thinking this could be 1737, possibly 1837, but I think more likely 1737 that it was made. So I'm very happy with that. And this one here, I believe, is also 18th century. It's got a fleur-de-lis on it and a griffin on the other side. It's like an armorial pipe, and also 18th century, I believe, which would make sense because they were found very, very close to one another. Now, did I go through everything? I think so. There's my lovely whippet pot bottom there. I thought they were greyhounds, but I've been informed that they're whippets. Oh, and the knife, of course. The knife, I think that it is not necessarily an original US Marines knife, but that's just simply what the label says on the side. Just going to check, make sure I haven't forgotten anything. No, I think that... Oh, I have forgotten something, you know. I have forgotten something. I've forgotten the smallest thing. And it's the smallest little thing here, the button, which shouldn't be forgotten because it does have a very grand story behind it. This little tiny button is marked with C. Mullen of Eastbourne, and I did manage to find out that C. Mullen was Christopher Mullen. He was born in, let me see, remind myself, he was born in 1842, and he was a tailor at 84 Terminus Road in Eastbourne, and he was a clerical, naval, military and ladies' tailor by special appointment, court tailor to the Grand Duke and Grand Duchess of Baden. So there you are, such a tiny little muddy button with such a grand story. So that's it for my finds. And now, as I was saying, this week it's the anniversary of the Princess Alice disaster, a very, very tragic accident which happened on the Thames 142 years ago this week. So we're going to go and learn a little bit about that. But just firstly, I want to say thank you to Hayley Lizelle, who sent me her uni project all about the Princess Alice disaster, which made for really interesting reading. And also to Dave Rickard and Rob Mitchell of the folk group String Whistle, who have allowed me to use their folk song, The Princess Alice Disaster, on this video. It's a lovely song. It just details what happened and in what order and how it happened, and I absolutely love it. I was so thrilled that they allowed me to use it on this YouTube video. So thank you very much, Rob, and thank you very much, Dave. Much appreciated. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy learning about the Princess Alice disaster. It's something that's largely forgotten about now, so I really wanted to share it with you. Hi everyone, I'm here at Tripcock Point on the 3rd of September, which is just on the River Thames near Woolwich. Now you wouldn't think, looking out at the river behind me, that exactly 142 years ago to this day, on the 3rd of September 1878, it was the scene of a tragic accident in which about 650 people at least lost their lives, most of them women and children. It was about 7:45 p.m. on the 3rd of September in 1878, and the Princess Alice, a paddle steamer, was overladen with people. There's no exact record of how many, but it could have been about 900. And it was on the way back from a really lovely day out at Sheerness in Kent, with mothers and their children, their babies, and some fathers too. So some families on the way back. Everyone was tired and happy. Many people were down in the saloon or in their cabins. Some people were out on deck. There was a brass band playing, and everyone was having fun. And they were on their way back to London. Now, coming down the other way was the Bywell Castle, which was a huge coal-carrying steamship. And the captain, Thomas Harrison, didn't notice the Princess Alice. And he just ploughed straight into the side of the Princess Alice, which then just cracked in two like an egg. There was one onlooker that said he could describe the Princess Alice like a cloud. One moment it was there, the next minute it was gone. Apparently it sunk in about 5 minutes. There was a panic which ensued, as you can imagine. There were hundreds and hundreds of people flailing about in the water, men, women and children, many of whom couldn't swim. And the heavy clothes of the time, of course, meant that many of them were just pulled under straight away. The Bywell Castle tried to help people to climb onto their ship and threw chairs and things in the water for people to grab hold of. But of course, there were people fighting over these things, and so many people drowned and lost their lives. And of course many people were in the cabins below, so couldn't even get out. There was one very heartbreaking account of a woman in black silk who was found in her cabin with her little boy clinging to her neck with his tin trumpet tangled in her hair. And of the 900 or so people on the ship, 650 definitely drowned and about 130 reached the shore, but there were many, many unaccounted for, and bodies were washing up for weeks and months afterwards. What made it a lot worse as well was that the water was just full of untreated sewage, which was spewing out of outlets on both sides of the river here. So people were breathing in lungfuls of toxic waste. So many people really didn't stand a chance. Now there is here a little board commemorating the disaster, or in memory of the people, but it's completely bleached with the sun, so you can't actually read it. But in Woolwich Cemetery there is a very big cross, a memorial cross, which was purchased by 23,000 people who all donated about the equivalent of £1 each. So I'm here at Woolwich Cemetery now, and just up there is the cross dedicated to the memory of the people who died on the Princess Alice disaster in 1878. Now apparently at least 120 people who perished in the disaster were also buried here in this graveyard, but I don't think that there's any stones left. So here we are, To the memory of those who perished, this cross was erected by a national sixpenny subscription, to which more than 23,000 persons contributed. It was computed that 700 men, women and children were on board. Of these, about 550 were drowned. 120 were buried near this place. And I think actually there were even more people than that. There were more than 550. But there was no official record kept of how many people there were on the Princess Alice, but there were a lot of people that night. And then around this side, the saloon steamer Princess Alice, returning from a pleasure excursion, was wrecked off Tripcock Point, which is where I was earlier, by collision with the steam collier Bywell Castle on the night of September the 3rd, 1878. Well, I'm off home now. I've managed to collect myself a nice little handful of parakeet feathers. This is the place to come if you want parakeet feathers. There's hundreds of them. Wow, look at that one. That's a nice one. Such vibrant colours.
When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all have been drowned as the coroner found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. If you listen to me, a story I'll relate of a ship called the Good Princess Alice. She met with her fate in 1878. She was known as a floating palace. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the coroner found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. 800 or more were aboard her for sure on a pleasure trip in gay company. But for hundreds of men, their families and friends, oh, the pleasure was surely not to be. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the coroner found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. To Sheerness they went, while Woolwich and Gravesend. William Grinstead was the captain's name, and the helmsman was Giles, who was new to such affairs, but the captain must accept the final blame. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the coroner found. Some were poisoned by the black sinking river. As they rounded Tripcock Point, a collier came inside the Bywell Castle, 1,000 tons or more. And the collier's captain thought that ships would pass the port and maintain his position by the shore. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the cholera found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. Now the Alice came around from the shelter of the land and was turned by the ebbing tide. But by now it was too late to avert the dreadful fate, and the cholera caught her squarely in the side. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the cholera found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. There were screams, there were shouts as the ship's lights went out. It took just 4 minutes to go down, and the collier's gallant crew managed to save just a few, and the rest were either poisoned or drowned. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the cholera found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river. Now the inquest resolved that lessons should be learned and rules of navigation put together. Well, they stand to this day, and I'm very glad to say that they've cleaned up the black stinking river. When the Princess Alice sank in Barking Reach, 640 died together. Not all had been drowned as the cholera found. Some were poisoned by the black stinking river.